In life, sometimes we feel like we are a shadow of our old self, a shell of our old self. And that's when you have to change your mindset. And I know that's very difficult to do at times, on changing that mindset of what you want and live into those emotions and those feelings and bring that into the present day, the present time, right now, instead of looking like, once I get this or once I get that, I will feel better or I will accomplish this. Well, act as if you're accomplishing it. You know, I know some people would say fake it till you make it. But the one thing that's missing is the emotion behind it, the feelings, because everything is about emotions. And when you get that right emotions going on in your life, you're unstoppable. And sometimes when you get knocked down or you're lacking abundance of sleep, which I definitely know that case far too well, is that you, or I should say I, beginning to realize that it's as Tony Robbins would say, not another day, not another minute, end this shit. And that's where I'm at. Last night I was able to get I fell asleep a lot earlier. My routine was a little bit different than what I was normally doing because I tried doing a CBD. That didn't quite work for me. I've tried some CBD with THC. Apparently I was supposed to take a half of what the dosage for the sleep was. And let's put it this way. I've never done anything like that in my life, and I was tripping. And I could definitely say that it was not something that I want to ever do again. And it did not serve me. But there was a good message behind it. And when I talk about what is serving is exactly what it means. Because I've learned now is if things are not serving me, then it's not worth having. And so when I was going through images of during that time when I wanted to be sleeping, I was going through a therapeutic cleansing because I was seeing images of things and I was like, it's not serving me, delete. And kept on doing that for I could just erase it out of my mind, take the trash out as one of my coaches would tell me, take the trash out, purge it. If it's not serving you, it's not needed. And that's something that I've quite realized now. If it's not serving you, don't have it in your life. And not to say that the people that are in your life, if they're not serving you, and I'm not talking about when I say serving, it's not the thing of I'm serving you something. It's basically going in the internal side of who you are. And if this is helping me, providing me substance, providing me nutrients. And when you look at like food is it's fuel. It's not nothing else other than that. It's to fuel you up. So everything that's coming into your life is fueling you. Your sleep is fueling you and cleansing you. Your nutrition is fueling you. Your friends can be fueling you. Your family can be fueling you, as well as you're fueling them. However, if you're losing track of not being able to, or you're surrounded with people who are just takers, or people who don't vibe at the same frequency or the same level where you're at, it's okay for who they are. Love them for who they are and appreciate for who they are, but you don't have to surround yourself with those individuals because they're going to bring you down. And that's something that I kind of realized, that looking at the language that we're using, looking at how we're talking to ourselves, those are things that I kind of see that is very important to me now more than ever. It's about surrounding myself with people who want more out of their lives, as well as being able to build things with other people, connecting with other people. I was told that I was a hyper-focused individual. So that's why some of the things that are going on in my life is like, can't really rest because I'm always on the go. I always have to be doing something. Can't just like sit down and watch a movie. And it's been years since I really would really watch a movie. And I've been trying to do that, but then I have to do breathing exercises because of the whole thing about my sleep is because of my kind of put myself into a different nervous system because I was in my the fight and flee nervous system where you're always in the go rather than the you're more of the rest and relaxation. I always get those two mixed up, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. But the one thing that I've learned now is how I'm really communicating and how I'm really breathing. Like I realized that you can control everything with your breath, and it all starts with changing your mindset, changing your emotions. It's all about that breath. It's also about being in nature, being around in a field, like I'm in a grassy area. It brings back good memories of like when I was a youth, or even when I was a college athlete. And how many hours or years, if you kind of look at it, as like I spent on a playing field, and it brings back the good memories, and it brings back the thing of how I was like an average athlete in high school. I was an average athlete in college, but yet that didn't stop me. I realized that I can still be contributing to others, be with the presence and helping them achieve their own greatness. It took me 5 years, my last year of my eligibility, to go to the conference championships in track. I was a track sprinter. The one thing there is that, I was able to participate in the 100 and the 200, and it felt good. It felt good to be able to represent my university in the conference championships. Most people don't, maybe they take things for granted, and I look at it in life, I take everything as an appreciation, because right now, like I'm appreciating every second of sleep that I'm getting. I'm appreciating every minute, every hour that I could possibly get. And because I know last night where I was, I ended up did my sleep hygiene, I guess you would say. I ended up just I decided I'm not going to wear those blue blocking glasses because they just aggravate the hell out of me. So I just decided just to go ahead and just relax, watch a little bit of TV, and take my magnesium. I ended up taking a Epsom salt bath to kind of relax. Ended up taking some passion flower, and then I ended up taking my peptide, and I ended up reading. I went outside, get bundled up, and went into my porch, and I ended up reading the Alchemist again. And by doing that, finally, eventually, I started getting tired, and it could have been about maybe during my whole process, it could have been like 11:30 or even 12 that I finally maybe fell asleep, and then I woke up at 3. So here's the thing that I look at it as: my body is aching for more hours, and I want some consistency, and I have to look at it as taking out the trash, making sure that I don't have any racing thoughts. And then I think that what's happening is that I'm purging things that are not serving me, and things that are not giving me the value, or things that are not supporting me, especially in this journey, because I would think about things. I would think about the past, or I would forecast the future and think about, what I'm going to do tomorrow, when I realize tomorrow will take care of itself. And when tomorrow wakes up in the morning, then that's when I can go ahead and think about, here's my to-do list. Here's all the things I need to get done. It used to be in the past, I used to do my to-do list the night before. So I know what needs to be done. And sometimes that works. and then sometimes it doesn't work. And I also feel too that when you make your own agenda, then things are a lot easier. But yet when you're working for someone, working for a corporation, you're subjective to their own rules and their own expectations, because I look at it as, I want to be able to get this thing in order as soon as possible, so I can get back to myself of who I am. But I also realized a few different things, that what's going on with me is that I've been leaving things on the table. A lot of my friends have been telling me for years, I was like, why aren't you doing breathwork events? Why aren't you doing some seminars? You've been an author in 5 books, and yet you really don't really talk about it. And you talk real briefly on a podcast, you get things going, and then you don't follow through. And I kind of feel like, it's definitely true, because I've been focusing on other things. Like I've been focusing on my health as one example. I've been focusing on my job, making sure that I'm doing the best job that I possibly can. But yet I also realize too, is that what's my purpose? What is my why? What is it that I really want out of life? Because when it comes right down to it, does my job really care about me? No, they can replace me. They can replace me like that. And I kind of realized that because of that, I am realizing that my health is very important, and there'll be another job down the road if that's the case. And in the meantime, I look at it as one of my older brothers told me. He said, hey, you can't take it with you. So I remember when I was working for Blue Origin, oh man, I was so ecstatic, because I was working on a space station. And what ended up happening was eventually the program got cut. And so I lost my job. And during that time period is the time when I had all this exponential growth. I ended up writing 3 books, created some courses, and then eventually I found work. But I wasn't really pushing for that work, because I wanted to work on myself. And right now it goes back to, it's like everything is in ebbs and flows and cycles. And right now I'm looking at it as, yes, I've always been a healthy individual, and yet what ends up happening is I got into this whole thing of worry. I was worrying about things which don't need to be worrying about. And because it goes back to the saying, if you believe in God, is, cast your worries up to God. And that's where I kind of feel like what's happening with my life is that I always felt like I had to be in control of things. And yet sometimes I realize now is like, there are things that you can control and other things you can't control, and that it's okay. And it's okay to relinquish control. It's okay to about the trust, because that's the whole thing, is like right now for my body to just relax and get into that state of relaxation, it's a trust. Am I trusting the process? Or also too, where I'm always in the go, like kind of being able just to sit down and just and eat a meal and just talk for hours, just sitting down. Whereas me, I feel like I need to be going. I need to go do this. I need to be producing. Right now, I think this is a time where it's about consuming for me. It's about taking in everything that this life has to offer. When you look at the sky, you look at they look at the grass, you hear the birds chirping, everything happens for a reason. And we never take the time to really stop, smell the roses, hear the birds chirping, being able to appreciate everything that we have in life, because it's always like on the go, 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 go. And I realized that when you live in a certain type of environment, that's all they want. It's always on the go. You have to plan things. Then you have to go ahead and coordinate your time, driving time, and there might be an accident on the road. And that's when I kind of realized that where I was like a year ago compared to where I was now, I didn't have a care in the world, because I was working on things. And yet, and then I was working on my stuff rather than working on somebody else's stuff. And that's when I kind of started realizing more and more is that we're all important. And remember that when you look at what's going on in your life, we only get a finite amount of time on this rock. And if you're not living your life's purpose, then what are you doing? Because I know for a fact right now, I'm not living my life's purpose of what exactly I really want to do with my life. I've been an engineer for 30 years of my life. And I don't say, and I'm not going to say it was like it's a bad thing. I worked on a lot of amazing projects, from working on a radio for the Navy SEALs, worked on some missile defense work, worked on some rockets. I worked on a space station. I've worked on airplanes, guiding them, and then now working on landing on the airplanes. And yet the thing is that life is about fulfillment. Was I fulfilled with some of those endeavors that I've did? Yeah, I was fulfilled. I also looked at it too as these companies wouldn't even look at me when I was in college because they would tell me my GPA was way too low. And yet what ended up happening is I ended up getting an outstanding software architecture award from General Dynamics. And then I remember when I worked at another company, these managers said that they said I was not engineering material. They said, why don't I become a technician? And yet, when it comes right down to it, is like, yeah, you're only as good as your leadership. And so, didn't have good leadership there. That's something that I've learned. Lack of leadership. And that's what happens in life. When you don't have a good leader, you're steered into the wrong direction. And so, you have to be your own leader in your own life. You have to make your own decisions. You have to go ahead and lead your life to the way you want it to be, where you want to be, and where you want to go. And realize that life is short, because if it's gone, it's gone. And that's where I feel for myself, is that I feel like there's a lot of stuff still left in the tank. A lot of stuff that I want to accomplish. And then I know that when I'm talking about these long videos that I'm doing, it's, if you pay attention to these things, great. If not, I don't really care, because I used to always care about like what other people would think, live in that whole, that judgment and that comparison. And I think that's all fucking bullshit, because all that comparison is just a thief of your joy. And instead of you shining bright, you're letting somebody else dull you. And that's when I kind of realize now is that life is short. We got to live our life to the fullest and have experiences, because I kept on thinking like I've been so rigid in my life that, I need to do this in order to get that, and I had one of my friends who would always tell me, said, dude, you have a nice car, you have a house, and you look good, you work out, and you have a six pack, and where are the ladies, and I was like, dude, it's not about all those things. It's about building a connection. And yet he would also say, well, maybe you need to go ahead and get a better car, or move out of your house and get a bigger house. And I was like, no, it's not about getting something to present to other people. It's not about impressing others. It's about impressing upon yourself. And that's something that I realized with this stuff that's going on with me right now, is it's about me internalizing it, and it's about me realizing who I am and what I want out of life, and more so get rid of the things that are not serving me, because I was always trying to prove to others that I belong, prove to others that I'm good enough, or constantly always shooting a text message, doing those things just because of trying to show to the other person like I'm worthy, pick me. I'm like, fuck that shit. If you're not reaching out to me, if you're not, then you're not vibing with me, and that's okay. If you're not checking up on me, that's okay. And I realize all this stuff that's going on in my life is happening for a reason. It's not happening, as Tony Robbins would say, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And I realize this is the year of the truth. the year of the cleanse for me. The truth of who I am and what is coming out. That's what I'm looking at right now, is being vulnerable, sharing my life, and also too the struggles of what I'm dealing with, and also realizing that everything is all about a step, one step after another step after another step. And I feel like as I walk, and that's why I love walking, is because I get empowered by walking. And maybe that's the reason why I don't want to really sit down, because I kind of feel like life is very short. And I want to accomplish more. I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to teach, lead, inspire. I want to keep it lit. And what I mean by that is lead, inspire, and teach. That's who I am right now and what I want right here. And I hope I'm teaching you the struggles and how to overcome them. And if you watch this video, give me a comment, give me a subscribe or whatever, don't really care if you do or not or whatever. But hey, it's all about, let's have this conversation, because we all need to be connected with each other, and we all need this connection to help each other out, to lift each other up, to help them grow. So you guys have an awesome day. Be about it, said it, talking about it, and I usually say namaste, my friends. Blessings.